Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, for of all species. I'm Dayzee Hyena, and welcome back to another Angels with Scaly Wings. Now, due to some technical difficulties, I tried to save and I ended up reloading an old file, so I went through and I did everything exactly the same way again, which was fun. So, okay. Last time we talked to a guy working on a video game. Y'all found out I'm working on a video game. We got to talk to Katsuharu, who looks a lot like that motherfucker but old, and we get to talk about ice cream. We didn't get to eat any, but oh well. So, let's go. How many more times would I see this apartment before I return to my own world? Or before something happened to me? I got ready for the day and tried to shake off those thoughts. Who's gonna eat our ass today? Hey, Dayzee. And right on the minute. You show up at this time every day like clockwork. Clocks are reliable, and reliable is good in this line of work. I've got something for you. An envelope from this facility? Oh, these are the results of the test that Anna ran on my blood. She must have sent this before she was... No, it's no use thinking about that now. Maybe the test results will be able to help us. Let's see, remarkable similarities in genetic makeup, particular in the brain structure. Oh, I suppose this isn't the only reason you're here. The chief will explain everything once we get there. Let's not keep him waiting, shall we? Oh, hey. We arrived at a place that would look like any ordinary house. I don't like this sound. Somebody's dead. We arrived at the place that would look like any ordinary house. Had it not been for its extraordinary size, it reminded me of a hostel rather than a family home. Chief! There you are. Wait, weren't you supposed to be with Imra? Luckily, she doesn't work every day of the week. I see. Anyway, we're not nearly done here, so I'll keep it short. Reza broke into a hatchery. Oh my god! He was killing babies! There is another murder victim, an employee of the hatchery who was on night duty. Her body was found quite away from here. There's evidence of a struggle, but she covered a lot of distance before it was ultimately over. Loud bangs were heard from the area her body was found, and she has numerous wounds consistent with both the wounds of previous victims that the other weapon has had. By this point, news of another corpse didn't have the same impact anymore. She was just another one of Reza's faceless victims. A hatchery? Is that what this building is? Well, not only, it's a council-owned building, and they like to keeping everything related to their sector under the same roof. So besides hatchery, it's us. If Adine is dead, I'm quitting. So besides the hatchery, there's also an orphanage and family clinic inside. There are also offices related to the administration of those services. That reminds me of the production facility. It should. They have similar management structure. But can we get back to the case? Sorry for the interruption, Chief. Wait a minute, if it's an orphanage... Wait a minute, if an orphanage is there too... There's no other casualties, but Reza got something else when he broke in. A generator as well as a few eggs. Luckily, the power was restored before anything happened to all the other eggs left inside. But needless to say, the parents of the stolen eggs are not going to be happy. Why would he steal eggs in the first place? Maybe you can tell us that's why you're here after all. I don't know. I have no idea what he would even do with them. Maybe he wants to use them as a bargaining chip. After all, he still has to make his escape. And the portal is still broken. Do you think he wants to exchange them for a safe passage to the portal? Maybe. It's still broken though, so I'm not sure if that would be much help. Maybe he has the parts needed to repair it and now has everything he needs to escape. You could trade the eggs for a safe passage and fix the portal and leave. That's not the only possibility. He may not be the one who broke the portal. Maybe he thinks you've intentionally sabotaged it so he can't leave, and he feels he needs the eggs as a bargaining chip to get you to repair it. If he just wanted to leave, I feel like he could have done it that already. It doesn't even matter who sabotaged the portal. We only know that Reza's actions are becoming more and more desperate. He kidnapped your fenceless eggs, and even used a human weapon. Something's clearly going on with him. Maybe it means he'll slip up soon. Who knows? Maybe he already has. In any case, we're done here. Let's head back to the department and decide what to do next. Hopefully, some of the test results will tell us something. Maybe it was a good thing I gave blood after all. After a brief walk, we were in Bryce's office again. Initial results had already come in, but didn't reveal any insightful or new information. So what do we do now? Go over the timeline again? Not yet. There are still things I'd like to take care of first. What do you have in mind? Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Come in. Oh god. Why did I think it was gonna be Reza? Maverick, what are you doing here? Chief, can I talk to you alone? Quite busy here, Maverick. What is this about? Reza. Well, you're looking at the Reza task force, so if you have anything to say, you can say it in front of all of us. I see. I think I know where Reza is. Do you think you know where Reza is at this very moment? I have good reason to believe that I have located his hideout. He could still be there, or he might have already moved on. Damn, Maverick, tell me everything. I've been tracking him for a while now. When he was at the portal a few days ago, I nearly got him, and managed to follow him for a while before I lost him. Based on that, where he's been and where his victims have been found, I could triangulate his whereabouts. He has to live somewhere, alright? He needs a base to hide the generators and everything he has stolen. Bryce cleared the clutter on a table and smoothed out a map of the town on the surface. It already had a few locations related to the case marked on it. Show it to me. Prior victims were found here and here. Today's was here. She was following him, likely because she wanted to save the eggs he stole. This is the path he took from the portal when I followed him a few days ago. I mean, God bless that girl for trying to save those eggs. So we've established this as his area of operation. Expedited, and we can narrow it down to this. Now, where could he be hiding in this area? He's certainly not within the village borders, so unless he decided to live in the wilderness or in a hole in the ground, the only option is here. The abandoned farm. When did you figure all of this out? Just a few minutes ago. When I did, I immediately came here. Damn it, Maverick, this might be it. Should we send an observation team? As if we had one to spare. Heck, we're going there right now. What about you, Maverick? I'm still on sick leave, remember? Besides, if I saw Reza right now, I'd probably do something I shouldn't. How about you, Dayzee? Isn't this going to be dangerous? Reza probably won't harm you, as you are the only one who could possibly consider an ally. Good point. If anything with you there, we might be able to convince him to give up. Or we can act like we intend to trade you for the eggs if he tries to use them as a bargaining chip. You're not really going to use me for his ransom, right? I'll see about that. I suppose if it's necessary, I'll have to play along. I've got your back. If there's one thing we could do to make this whole situation even worse, it would be messing it up with you.
We have the element of surprise if we walk to his face right now, but we risk Reza lashing out with his weapon. If we want to resolve this peacefully, observation is probably the way to go.
I guess we won't need Dayzee there for that, though.
Sure enough.
Alright, Dayzee, you may stay here and wait for further instructions. We may need you at a moment's notice. Don't do anything without us telling you to, understand? Okay. Alright, let's go, Sebastian.
After you, Chief.
And Maverick, good job. Thanks, Chief. Shortly after they vanished, Maverick also turned to leave. Then I had to wait. Bryce and Sebastian were observing the farm now, and if anything new happened, I'd be the first to know. I spent some time looking around Bryce's office, studying all the materials he had gathered about the case, though there wasn't any information I didn't already know. After a few hours, the telephone in his office rang, and not sure whether the call was intended for me or Bryce had picked up. Dayzee? Dayzee! Yes? I think you'll need to come here. I'll give you the directions. No problem. There you are. So what happened? A whole lot of nothing. There was no movement to or from the building in the entire time we've been watching.
He usually operates during the night, so maybe he's just asleep.
In that case, it would be best for us to go in before he has a chance to make his escape.
Or maybe he's not even there anymore. He could have seen us and slipped away unnoticed. There's plenty of time to destroy the evidence while we've been waiting here.
You're right. Either he's inside or he's already gone and not coming back. Let's go in.
What should I do?
You're coming with me. Sebastian, you walk around and watch the back of the building just in case he tries to escape.
I'm on it, Chief.
I go in and you stay here, alright?
What am I even here for then?
You're our insurance. If Reza tries to flee and sees you, he might throw him off. You might be able to stop him. Or if we get into the standoff, I'll tell him you're here as well. I just don't want you to come inside when it could become dangerous.
Let me go in first.
Why?
Maybe I could talk to him and we could figure things out. I don't think he wants to kill me. Even if it doesn't work out, Sebastian and you will be nearby to catch him.
I'll be right behind you then, but do be careful.
We slowly made our way to the front. I took a deep breath and tried to prepare myself for the possibility of facing Reza. The 10 scenarios and things I could say to him rushed through my head as I pressed down on the door handle. The door inched open with a creak, but I noticed slight resistance and a strange sound suddenly made me hesitate. Is there a body up against the door? Oh, yes, there's a body up against the door. Look at all that blood. When I looked down, I saw the source of the noise, a taut wire through the gap of the door hovering above the floor of the entryway. Uh-oh.
That was a pretty close call, you know. Too bad Reza wasn't here after all.
Maybe he ran when he saw us approach.
Strange for him to leave everything behind though. Everything he stole and all the generators are still here.
Do you think the trap was for us in particular?
So, was that like a tripwire? Like, did we almost set off a bomb or something? Probably not. It was likely more of a general safety precaution. If he had had any time to prepare this, he would have taken this stuff with him.
Sure enough. I had no idea you could make a bomb out of a generator.
Then you just haven't been with us long enough. If you know how, it's not even that complicated.
And Reza somehow figured it out?
Apparently so. Does he have the skills pertaining to engineering or electricity?
Well, he's worked on cars before and fixes a lot of things back home. I guess that would qualify.
He could have done his own research. Either way, this makes him even more dangerous. At least we now have a whole building worth of clues. Dayzee, Can you go to your apartment from here? We'll be busy with this scene for a while.
No problem. I'll leave you to your work then. Oh, for real, we almost set off a bomb.
Good job, Dayzee.
Thanks. I'm surprised you called me back so quickly. How's the investigation going?
Oh, the investigation is going swimmingly, but as you can expect, we need all the help we can get.
As usual.
With how this case has been going, we've realized we must employ external help.
Oh?
Yeah, we've requested assistance from one of the cities. We hope they'll send some good investigators our way soon.
I see.
We were so close today, he could have been there, you know. Maybe we just came a minute too late. And if he knows how to make bombs for generators, who's to say he won't start using them elsewhere?
At least he doesn't have any right now, does he? You said all the generators that were stolen were accounted for.
True, still, this whole case is growing to be too much for a small town police department.
I hope you'll get all the help you'll need.
Me too. But right now, you can help us again.
Well, what do you have for me?
When we searched the building, we found more things than Reza's... When we searched the building, we found more than the things Reza stole. We also found this bloody bandage.
Do you think that's his?
That's what we need to find out, but given all we know, it probably is.
So he's wounded. The first attack, the first victim bit the attacker. So Reza is the murderer. That's obviously that.
We know he was injured during the fight with his first victim, but whether this is from the same wound or something else, I'm not sure. In any case, you could bring it to the lab for us and find out more.
Sure.
Next, we have a witness who reported hearing loud bangs during the night. We'd like to send someone to make a follow-up visit. You'll need to confirm the witness statement, then see if he has anything new to share. Also, now that we have reclaimed your PDAs, we're going to send them to the archives for analysts. Since they have experience with human artifacts, they're better suited to do it than any of our departments.
No problem.
And lastly, we have the egg. That's a relief that we found them unharmed in the building. They're safe and ready to be sent back to the hatchery.
Shouldn't we take care of those first?
It's not as urgent as you might think. Our eggs are pretty resilient. Being the case of our hatchery is more of an insurance than a requirement. Some people choose to keep them in their own homes until they hatch rather than having a hatchery take care of it. The hatchery has been notified, but they won't be able to send someone for a few hours. I heard they've been really understaffed.
Well, since they just lost someone.
If you bring in the paperwork, it'll speed up the process, but it's not an urgent matter.
I see.
In any case, I'll just leave everything here until I get to it. So feel free to do these tasks as you wish. I know it's laughable. We don't even have a free hand for simple errands.
Don't worry about it.
By the way, are you planning to attend the summer festival?
Should I? It's hard to think about something fun when I'm wrapped in this investigation. Isn't this where Adine is gonna fly? I want to go.
For sure, it's important to take a short rest so you don't lose your head. There's so much to see at the festival, particularly with the big fireworks.
Dragons enjoy fireworks too. I would think something like that would feel so commonplace since many of you breathe the fire.
It's not quite the same. We still appreciate the wonder of colorful bursts in the sky. On the last day, there's this big fireworks show. Everyone usually attends it.
He's gonna set off a bomb and murder everybody there, isn't he? Everyone?
Yes, it has a great tradition behind it. What peeves me the most is I'll be on guard duty when it happens this year, so I probably won't be able to see a thing.
I'll be sure not to miss it then.
Anyways, I should get back to the investigation now. I'll leave the stuff for you here and I'll take the rest once I get back, alright?
Sure thing.
Good luck, Dayzee.
You too. Okay. I know in an investigation you have to talk to the witnesses as soon as possible so you can get as much information as you can as quickly as possible before they forget.
And this comes the shitty part of figuring another voice. Fuck!
Can I help you?
You must be Ipsum, is that right?
Sure.
I'm working with the police and hoped you could answer a few questions.
Because I responded to your calls for a witness about last night, right?
Yes.
Alright, what do you want to know?
Can you tell me what happened?
Sure, I was running an experiment in my home laboratory and waiting for it to finish. Around 2 a.m. I suddenly heard bangs outside that reminded me of a small explosion. It sounded like they were coming from just around the corner.
I see. Did nothing about this seem unusual to you?
Not really. I know I've caused a few similar disturbances with my experiments before. If someone else decided to take up home experimentation, they certainly have my approval. Besides, I wasn't in any position to abandon the experiment I was running at the time, or else it could have a similar outcome.
Thank you, I think that'll be all.
No problem.
So about 2 a.m. is when it went off, but we would already know that considering... Okay. I'm gonna take the eggs, because even though it's not important for them, it's important for me to know that the babies are okay. I don't like babies. I don't like kids, but I will die to protect them. I was on my way to the hatchery when I heard a voice call out to me. I'm gonna guess it's Adine. Hello there. I turned around to see an unfamiliar face before me. Oh, hello. Why are you handsome? And you're a furry dragon. Hey, I'm Kevin. Dayzee, nice to meet you. Could I perhaps interest you in our Midwest institution? Is this some kind of a religious thing? Not at all, it's a college. Sorry, but I already got my degrees. Yeah, no, it was just a joke. Oh, so me going to college is a joke now? I'm not good enough, is that it? Not at all. Even if you wanted to study there, I don't think you'll be with us long enough to make use of it. I think that came out wrong. You're lucky I won't take this the wrong way. Ew. So you're a recruiter for this college? No, this is just my summer job. Once the semester starts up again, I'll actually be attending to get my degree in psychology. College, wonderful times. Is that sarcasm? Maybe. I didn't even know you had colleges here, though. Well, now you did. Well, you do now. Why'd you even approach me if you know I'm not going to college here? Don't tell me it's just because I'm human. I was actually trying to talk to that old lady who walked by, but once you turned around, there was no going back. Hate it when that happens. Oh, well, thanks for not making things awkward. Hey, I treat everyone nicely until I have a reason not to. There you go. That's what's up. That's good customer service. Sure, but it's not just for the job, you know. That's just me. Why don't you come over to my place later? I'd love to hear more about what college is and about in this world. Then you found the right person for the job. I can't promise anything right now, but maybe I'll see you another time. For sure, I also have to finish this up here, but after that I'm free. Alright, I'll let you know. I'm here all day, today, and tomorrow, so it shouldn't be hard to find me. Great, I have to get going now, but I'll be sure to let you know if anything's up. Sure, see ya. Well, he was nice. Here we are again. Yay! Hey, Dayzee, what are you doing here? Oh, I just came by to drop these off. Drop what off? The stolen eggs. I figured the hatchery would want them back. Oh, I was actually going to get those from the police department later. I'm so glad they got back safely. Emily, stop chewing my leg. Oh, it's tasty. Oh well. Anyway, I was about to go inside, so I'll take those off your hands. Thanks for bringing them here. No problem. Awesome. What was it? In loco paritis. I don't know. Thank you for all your help. I'll take care of the remaining tasks so you go the rest of the day off. I'm sure you have things to do other than helping the police department. No, I'd rather keep going. It's no problem, really. My trip to your world wasn't supposed to be a vacation. Alright then, I'll see you next time. See ya. I hope I'm doing the right things. After this fateful day, I was glad to finally have some sort of respite. I wandered into the kitchen as I considered tonight's dinner. Should I cook something or order out? When I returned to the living room, I suddenly found my strength leaving me and I collapsed to the floor. Oh shit. Oh shit! This is the very opposite of good. Okay. The next thing I saw was a blurry stone ceiling. My eyesight slowly returned, and I managed to sit up. It was a cave, and before me stood a familiar, mysterious face. Oh god. I apologize for the violence, but I can assure you it was the easiest way. Where am I? Is this your hideout? It's just a temporary accommodation, so we could be undisturbed for this meeting. Someone else used to live here until recently. Do you know who I am? Well, you're not Reza. Good. What did it take for you to figure that out? Since you're not whispering anymore, I can hear it clearly in your voice. I had a feeling that you couldn't be him since the first time we met, though. Which first time are you talking about? The generator in the cellar where you pushed me. I see. You could call me the administrator. No other humans are supposed to be here, though. I assume that's why you're wearing the mask. You don't want to be recognized. That is correct. Whoever you are, you also saved my life. On more than one occasion. Your presence here doesn't make any sense. You couldn't have come through the portal. The dragons would have noticed. This is where you are wrong. My arrival through the portal is what led the dragons to discover in the first place. Is that so? When I crawled out from the hole in the earth that hid the portal, there was no guards to discover me. My experience exposed the portal, but the dragons didn't know it was there yet. So you arrived here even before Reza. That makes you the actual first human to come to this world. That is more true than you might think. See, he's the original human. Just who are you then? I may have arrived through the portal like you, but my story is very different. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh. Now, before the fall of humanity, I was an engineer. I was part of the team that was formed to create bioweapons. Our task was to create these bioweapons in a country where their development hadn't yet been regulated or outlawed. These weapons were planned to be low-cost alternative for poor countries to wage war, so they would no longer have to rely on expensive drones and machines for warfare. I was set up in the lab where our bioweapons development would take place. It was a Cassidy operation, set in the middle of the wilderness. But the laboratory was an independent research and living unit. It provided everything we needed without having to rely on external resources or even an existing power grid. Everything was to be teleported right into the middle of nowhere with no traces or paper trail to follow. So international communities and law enforcement would have no ideas of our operations. Our only connection to the outside world after the setup would have been a two-way portal to our headquarters, who had provided everything we needed. While we already could teleport individual people, teleporting a whole building was another matter entirely. Our solution was to matter-compromise technology. Incredibly expensive, but operating in the gray market was also very lucrative. The technology behind it was much more complicated than human teleportation, despite being based on it. I'm not sure if I could keep doing that voice. It's making me lightheaded. While teleportation works by utilizing black holes with a beginning and end. Compression technologies relies on a loop, keeping a matter in a short limbo state until the loop is broken. Working with black holes was very complicated to begin with, but the shape required much more finesse, and thus was more expensive. I was to be sent alone to set up the lab and the portal so the rest of the team could arrive safely. In case you didn't know, it's possible to use the portal to send someone to a previous defined point. Therefore, it's not required to have a portal at a destination to be sent there. But as you can imagine, this can also be very dangerous. A single variable by a fraction could be the difference between landing safely as your destination and one being smothered in space.
Okay, I've got to change the voice. It's getting me way too lightheaded.
Of course, my employer did not want anything like that to happen. Not necessarily for my own sake, but because all of the unfathomable expensive equipment I had with me. Regardless, something went wrong anyway. Despite all their checks and safeguards, they could only minimize the risk so much. Even if the risk is a fraction of a fraction, sometimes you are just that unlucky. And sometimes it turns out your bad luck is a blessing in disguise. I arrived safely in the jungles of Earth, yet it was not the destination that had been planned. I knew something was off, but nevertheless I set to work immediately. At the very least, I could prepare the building. I would have shelter, and then I could begin preparations for our project. Getting the portal into working order would take more time, as it was a complicated process that could take several weeks. If things had gone wrong as I suspected, I would at least be able to establish connection with the headquarters after the portal had been set up. I would be able to return. While teleporting the lab to the wrong location was certainly a costly mistake, I was still lucky to have my life. Before long, I discovered the truth about the place I had arrived. While I was still on Earth, it was not the Earth I knew. It was the Earth of 65 million years ago. We knew that...
Wait, so this is the same planet 65 million years ago?
We knew that by utilizing black holes for teleportation, time travel was a theoretical possibility. It was something even my company didn't dare attempt, though, as teleportation itself was still a very new technology. Yet here I was, 65 million years in the past, with a resource station all to myself. The company would revel in the opportunity to study and profit from all the different life forms I could see. If they only knew about them. I spent a few weeks setting up the portal as planned. Yet, when I tried to re-establish contact with the employer, I was met with silence. Despite the time discrepancy, the portal should have been able to find my companies in the present. For a black hole, sending something through time is no different than sending something through space. However, when we built the portals, we gave them a specialized configuration. It was only possible to travel through space by aligning them across the time axis. That meant I, in the past, would still not be able to search for portals in the present to connect with. My counterparts in the present, though, would not be able to find me in the past, even if they tried. But I couldn't find them, not a single one. Even after checking the portal for its functions, I determined that, for all intents and purposes, the portals from the company should have been there to connect with. It was then I had the terrible realization. The portals in the present didn't exist anymore, or were no longer operational. Maybe the blunder of teleporting the lab caused them to reconsider the risk of using this technology. After that, it was already controversial and had been outlawed in several countries.
I wouldn't have been surprised if they decided to cut their losses, but it was highly unlikely that they would have immediately shut down every portal and left me stranded without notice. Portal technology was still being relied on in several places in the present. In my mind, only one possibility remained: super weapons. Various nations had been using them as bargaining chips for some time. I didn't think the threats had become that serious, but one of them must have launched their weapons and destroyed a majority of the world. It could have been the result of a malfunction, or perhaps a political situation had escalated. What if it was the solar flare that destroyed it? Either way, it was not possible for me to establish any means of communication to find out what really happened. I could have sent myself back to the present with the right coordinates, but this was a risky endeavor, and I also had to ask myself if the present I wanted to return to. I wasn't sure that anything was even left of our world. The aftermath or possible retaliatory strike would take care of the rest. In the end, I had to realize whatever present did exist, it was not likely one worth returning to. It made my decision all the easier. Instead of returning to a destroyed civilization, I saw an opportunity. Rather than creating bioweapons, I could learn to create a new civilization shaped by my own ideals. I had all the necessary data and most modern methods and machines at my fingertips. Besides, most of the processes have already been automated. In the end, I still used the lab for what it had been created for, fusing human and animal DNA to create what was mostly animal, but possessed greater intelligence that allowed them to learn whatever we wanted them to. I didn't have any animal samples sent with me when I initially were alive. I collected them from sources available to me. Automated processes mixed the DNA further across the samples. New abilities were added, like enhanced armor, flight, and split weapons to make the new creatures more effective in combat. The results were a number of different species, each tailored and optimized to fit a specific role in a war situation. Hormones allowed me to speed up their growth, and the lab's learning program. They could be educated in whatever matter I saw fit. So this is the first human, like I thought. My first concern was self-sufficiency. They needed a kind of new knowledge that would enable them to come together as their own independent society. Luckily, the AI that automated the process in the lab was more than helpful. I unleashed the first generation of my creations, and as their leader founded our first village. I thought we could really pull it off, and once I saw that they could survive without my guidance and also govern themselves, I knew my plan was a success. When I realized that this new society would inevitably be destroyed, I told myself I would do anything I could to save it. Destroyed? What are you talking about? Haven't you realized where we are? The Chick's Cub asteroid is headed for us. Oh! Isn't that the one that wiped out the dinosaurs? With a diameter of over 10 kilometers, its impact will create a humongous cloud of dust, throwing the Earth into a literal dark age. They will block out the sunlight for over a year, killing off many species of plants that rely on photosynthesis to survive. As a result, animals who eat those plants will also vanish, as those who sought sustenance from these herbivores. All in all, 75% of the species will vanish, and in terrestrial ecosystems, all animals heavier than a single kilogram will die. That would be 2 pounds, in case you didn't know. It will be the end of everyone who lives here. Every single dragon you have seen, unless we do something. Me? What am I supposed to do? Do you not wish to save them? I came here to help humanity. Now you tell me that this society, this whole world, is also on the brink of extinction. That is the truth. What kind of difference could a single person like me even make to save it? Right now, it's also a single person that presents its greatest threat. Reza, how? In order to stop the comet, we will need as much power as possible. We reclaimed all the generators you stole. Besides, how can a few of them be enough to make a difference for something like this? Don't forget that Reza is still out there looking for more. The truth is, I don't know if all the generators we could gather would ever be enough. We only required enough power to divert the comet's path during a critical moment. But even if this plan is possible, we would need every single generator we could get. So my goal hasn't changed. I just need to find Reza. Yes, but you'll need my help, and maybe the help of others. You know that Reza is dangerous, and with his gun, he has a clear advantage. I don't think that he would hesitate to kill you if you were in his way. Then what shall we do? Do you know where he is? No, but I think you'll find him soon. You can count on my support when that happens. I see. There's one thing that still doesn't make sense to me, though. The dragons have myths about you, but they don't know or remember you. They haven't seen humans for who knows how long. How much time has passed since you created them, and now? How many generations could it take to forget? Why was internet proof of your existence? I don't know how exactly long it's been myself. When I realized what time period I was, and that my creation was about to be wiped out in the future, I wanted to go to the future and see what they had become. I disabled the portal's time access safeguards and thus enabled it to connect with other timelines. This also included the very same portal in the future. We just went through the same exact place in the future. With the generator of our lab being able to supply the portal with power for an indefinite amount of time, I was able to travel to any point in the future I wanted to. The entry and the end point of the black hole would be the same place and the same portal, with the way traveled just being along the time axis. Since I could now search for connection points in any period of time, I looked for my own portal in the future and pinpoint the moment its signal stopped. The comet. Exactly. I found that specific point in time and traveled to a future that was close to the event I could safely manage. After I arrived here, my escape from the portal's hiding place led to discovery by the dragons, and the laboratory we were unearthed. I still don't understand how our portal found yours or why we ended up arriving at this particular time period. The portal you found was no doubt one of my company's. It must have been connected before, so corresponding data for their connection must have already existed when you founded it. I'm not sure if I could bypass the anti-time travel safeguards, though. It was completely operational when you found it. No, it took a bit of tinkering. Probably jumping the hardware safeguard in the process. Now consider that connecting portals travel along the time axis together. The data for their beginning and ending points are adjusted out automatically. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to transport anything from one place in the world with the other without sending it through time. Since these two portals must have been connected at some point, the corresponding data from the connection between those portals already existed. By using the same connection without changing any of the data, this would mean that, despite the time discrepancy between the two portals, time still progressed linearly for them. I'm not sure I understand. Let me try to rephrase that. The portal you found in my own shared connection. However, while this connection is locked to a certain place, which is wherever that portal is at the very moment, it is not connected to a specific point in time. For us in the physical machines, there are portals. Time passes linearly, but it can't do anything about that. However, for the black holes, this isn't the case. Just as their entry and endpoints could be different places, they could be different times. In order not to send something through time, when we want to transport something from one portal to the other, the portals are anchored together in such a way that the time data is automatically synchronized. Essentially, this means that
Ever since you arrived in this world, the same amount of time has passed. For you has also passed from the place where you came from. So, I see. So, despite being in different time periods, time still passes linearly on both sides of the portal. Otherwise, it would not have been possible for you to send messages back and forth to each other. If they were not synchronized, the portal on both sides would stay connected not only to a single point in space, but also a single point in time, thus making proper two-way communication impossible. However, this is a process through connection that has already been forged. If we wanted to, we could use your portal to send you back to your own time period, but to a moment before Reza even arrived here. But that would mean there would be two of me, right? Wouldn't that cause a time paradox? I can only tell you what would work. I want to study time travel before, though. So if there's any consequences, I'm not sure of them. Most likely an entire new timeline would be created. Yeah, I like the what's it called? Multiverse theory. There would be a timeline without Dayzee altogether, and a new one there would be two of you. This is becoming way too complicated. I apologize to come back to your original question. I'm not sure how much time has passed between the time I left my newborn society and now. Since the portal was not designed for time travel, I have no way of knowing how the variables translate from our perception of time. It could have been 1,000 or even millions of years. How could a portal or even its power source still be operational after all this time? The portal receives its power from the generator in the lab. These units were fitted with the absolute best of our technology we had to offer. It was designed to provide sustainable power completely and independently from any already existing network or power lines. It gains energy from many sources: sun rays, Earth's heat and movement, just to name a few. Keep in mind, it had to power a whole laboratory research station while also providing energy required for all of its inhabitants and associated energy expenditures. Taking its power from the Earth itself, a generator like this could continue providing power to the lab indefinitely. Speaking of which, why haven't I seen a single dinosaur since I arrived? It seems that dragon society expanded over the whole continent. Many still hunt for their own sustenance, and as such, the original species they were based on have mostly vanished. As in direct competition, ours proved to be far superior. Also, they have probably taken measures against having big predators roam in their cities and villages. Yet, while the dragon population has increased tremendously, I have found that at large the society as a whole has not changed much. Is that why everything here looks like it was made for humans? I suppose so. The learning program I initially used to give them knowledge about things and how to create them. Yet, of course, those were only human inventions and designs. Did they never once stop to think they could adjust how certain things look? A lot of furniture and objects I've seen look very impractical for dragons. I was surprised at that too, but I have an explanation for this phenomenon. Don't forget, their genome was designed by an AI program to make them into effective bioweapons. The idea was to have them indoctrinated at a young age. After researching adolescents, their learning capacity would be greatly diminished. This resulted in subjects that would stay loyal and be unlikely to change their desired behaviors. Instincts would also play a role. I imagine they're very much at odds with their learned behavior. Instincts in animals never change, and instinctual behaviors will always be there. If a given trait has been programmed into their genome as an instinct, it is not very likely to change, even through numerous generations. We can see the result of this here. While I instinctually made them to learn a certain set of values and knowledge, I found that the expression of those ideas have hardly changed. And after I was gone, each new generation learned from its elders, and much of the initial knowledge and information was retained through all this time. Their genome as a whole did change, however, which was unavoidable over time. If they had had used bioweapons as intended, they would have been nothing more than an army of identical clones. While I could see subtle changes in behavior as a result, some traits are still very much present in them. They are content with what they have and don't strive for more. They don't innovate or change. So technology breakthroughs are new inventions are a rarity. It's quite the opposite, really. They very much value tradition and their ways which have not changed much in all these years. I see. How much time do we have left to stop the comet? In a few weeks, the comet will pass the moon, and its gravity field will be the point of the comet's trajectory over the Earth. This is when we need to be ready. If we strike then, we only need to minimally affect its path in order to the comet pass the Earth safely. There won't be enough time for the inhabitants of this world to prepare for Reza steals our greatest assets. So it's all about Reza and the generators, isn't it? Indeed. By the way, I fixed the portal in case we need to use it. Did you break it to prevent me from being sent away? No, that wasn't me. Reza better not use it to escape. Trust me, the power is our greatest asset. I have programmed it with emergency coordinates. If you should find yourself in a hopeless situation and feel there is no other way out, go to the portal. I have made sure only you will be able to use them. I'll keep that in mind. So what's your plan? What do we do now? I will resume my work and you will continue yours. Find Reza. The administrator turned to leave. Wait, what's with all the secrecy? Why are you still wearing the mask? Why don't we pull our resources together and you show me your hideout? Don't you think it would be better if you were completely frank with me? No, not now. A second later, the figure had already vanished into the darkness outside. When I followed, I realized I wasn't sure how to get back to my apartment. Surrounded by trees and blanketed over the night, it was hard to make out where I stood. After wandering through the underbrush, I realized the lights on the horizon had been coming from the village and I made my way back. I returned to my apartment without much trouble. When I looked at the clock, I was surprised to see how much time had passed. Not having anything left to do for the day, I soon fell into deep slumber. Seems there's nothing for me to do this morning. I guess they don't need me at the police department. Not that I mind. Oh, that was so much information. My brain hurts. Okay. Let me summarize. I was right. That was the first human. That was Jesus. Okay, that was Dragon Jesus. And they had stayed there the whole time. I was right. I did not know that these dragons were supposed to be bioweapons and that we were on the same planet, but millions of years in the past. But that's cool. Like, the dragons are based off of dinosaurs that we know. And this is obviously in a different timeline. So, in the future, there was this company that wanted to create bioweapons, sent a dude into the past with all the stuff that he needed. They meant to send him to a different location, but they ended up sending him through through time, not space. Talk about a big oops. So, Dragon Jesus has been hanging out here, and he loves his people, the dragons that he created. He loves them, obviously, the joy of creation, man. I really do love some of the stuff I created. But, now the comet, which I'm thinking, I'm gonna have to Google it. I never knew that there was a name for the comet that killed the dinosaurs. But the comet is coming down, and I'm kind of divided. Did Reza, because Reza was talking as though he knew this stuff before he shot Maverick. So, I'm wondering if Dragon Jesus was trying to recruit Reza, and Reza defected and is trying to stop the dinosaurs from being saved. Which I could understand in some light, because if the dragons and dinosaurs of this planet live through the comet, that greatly alters the timeline we're in. Because our existence only comes to pass because the dinosaurs were eradicated. So, By saving them, we could essentially be destroying ourselves. So I can understand kind of the moral conflict going on here between the two parties. I'm not sure if that is Reza's intention or why Reza is doing the things he's doing. I really don't know. But we're gonna find out. So, make sure, if you're as invested in this mystery as I am, that you subscribe so you can keep up to date with all the new stuff going on. If you have any game suggestions or you just want to say hi, leave it down in the comments section below. I'm Dayzee Hyena, and I'll catch you on the next vid.